Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Lakecia, and I'm your host of Let's Talk Grief. And this is the City of Hearts, where we deep dive into real conversations. We explore raw emotions and we have honest discussions. So brace yourself because it gets real when we discuss the journey of love, loss, coping, and resilience. How are you all today? I hope you're having an amazing day. And today I have with me Mrs. Simone Williams Young. Simone is a dreamer and a visionary. She's an encourager. She is the founder and CEO of Young at Heart Publishing, LLC, and the owner of Unique LLC Hair Boutique. Among being a publisher and a hair connoisseur, Simone is also a prophet, a coach, a author, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and most importantly, a child of God. Please help me welcome Simone to the stage. Hey,
Hello.
Simone, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for
That's
having me.
awesome. You look amazing, beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, it's so wonderful to have you here in the studio with me today. Um, I know I did read your bio, but I would like for you to tell the people who you are from your words.
Okay. Well, I'm just Simone. I'm a mother. Like she said, I'm a mother. I'm an author. In ministry. Uh, I wear 1,000 hats into publishing as well as writing and dabbling into poetry lately. And so right now there's many sides to me right now. Just in the season right now of just trying to live my best life the best way I can.
Amen to that. Now, don't we all wear those many hats, girl?
Hmm.
Whew, sometimes I be like, I need somebody to share this hat with.
Right. I
So,
just
with introducing yourself, I'm just amazed at all of the amazing things that you have going for yourself. You know, you're thriving. You are truly an inspiration, Simone. You
oh,
are
thank you.
truly an inspiration.
Thank
And
you.
I know that we don't just get there overnight.
No.
I also know that God takes us through some things to get us to where we need to be. And a lot of those things are heavy.
Yeah.
you know. So I just want the people to know who you are and to understand your journey. How did it come about with you? First of all, if they don't know, Simone is also an author who has published how many books?
Well, right now, just two books, but in the next several months, it's probably going to be about six or seven.
Yes. So look at that. You going from 2 to 6 or 7? That's
Right.
amazing. But
Hmm.
I know that you published a book about grief.
Yes, I did.
But before we get into that book you published about grief, I want the people to just kind of get a backstory on how did you become the Simone Williams Young you are today. You know, if you don't mind sharing your testimony.
Absolutely. Um, well, I have 5 children, and my second oldest, which is my son Ashton, he went to a party in Las Vegas, and I'll backtrack. He was in college, and he was going to where we live in California, and he was going to an HBCU college in Tyler, Texas, and he was on the honor roll, a really good kid, a really good special kid. And he came home because of COVID, and because they shut the dorms down and everything, and he had to come
Right.
home like this. He didn't have much time to prepare. And so he came home, then of course readjusting to being at home, being back in California. Him and Third child, which is also a boy, went to a party in Las Vegas. And I don't know the stories that I hear. Somebody was upset, came back. It was a house party, and came back and shut up the whole house.
My God.
They said there was something close to like 20 casings on the ground. And my son, unfortunately, was the only one who was killed at that party. From what I understood, he was trying to escape. When they started shooting up the house, he was upstairs. And I guess when they started shooting up the house, a lot of people ran through the house and jumped out the back, over the fence into somebody else's yard. So I guess him coming down the stairs, trying to escape. As soon as the gunshot stopped, as soon as he went down the stairs, it was one of those homes where there's a door right at the bottom of the staircasing. And he went down the stairs and tried to flee. But as soon as he got down the stairs, from what I heard from the events, they started shooting again. Right when he got down the stairs. And so I actually had two children at that party that day. I had two sons. And the other son, had went before him. And, he said all he heard was him yell. And so he turned around and, he was trying to hold his brother and, trying to, hey man, get up, get up. And, but then the bullets were flying so hard. He said they were flying so much. He had to make a split decision, and he had to leave, and he had to save himself, and he had to leave his brother behind.
My God. Ooh, I'm sorry
So,
for your loss. I have chills with you just speaking about your story. First of all, I can't imagine what you have gone through in that time,
mhm,
even now, because grief is a never ending journey. So I
no,
can't imagine it. And to receive that call and to know that I not only have one of my seeds there, but two,
too.
and not knowing exactly what transpired, I cannot imagine
Yeah,
being in your shoes. So I definitely want to extend my condolences to you.
thank you, thank
But
you.
not only that, just my continuous prayers because that's a battle that um will forever be with you, you know?
Yes, yes,
Um, so, and I commend you for even being able to share your testimony. And
thank
it is my prayer that with this show that your testimony will actually help another mother
you.
who
Absolutely.
could possibly be grieving in the same manner that you're grieving in, or have a child who's out here and she's praying for his safe return or her safe return.
Mhm,
Um, my God, Ooh,
yeah.
I want to lighten the mood a little bit.
Okay.
um, um, what? How did your book? First of all, can you tell us the name of your book that you wrote
Yes.
after
Mhm. The
after
passing.
losing your son?
Mhm. Yes, it's called I Choose to Live, Pushing Through the Grieving Process. I actually have, well, I don't know if you can see it because I have that filter. This, oh, there it is. I have this.
Yeah.
I choose to live, pushing through the grieving process. And basically, that's what I had to do. And,
Yes.
as we all say, and we even tell our children, you have choices in life. You want to be a leader, you want to be a follower. But in this case, I had a choice. Did I want to continue to let it take me? Did I want it to take me on a downward spiral? Or did I want to live because I also had other children that I had to continue to raise?
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I also had to, just for my own sanity and my own, so I was able to put down the events that of what happened, and also give people some encouraging words, just to let them know, everyone is different. everybody grieves different. Everybody has a different journey. Another mother could have lost their son to gun violence just as me, but or just as myself. But I can't tell you how I'm able to kind of maybe pick myself up, but another mother may not be able to do so as maybe I won't say as easy as I did because it wasn't easy, but it was just a different walk or different journey for me. So, and of a spiritual journey, with losing my son. So, but just to let you know that you're not alone, never apologize for the way that you feel. They say you own it, you want to own it, and use it to be a stepping stone. So I just want to encourage people, just you can make it. That's basically what I just want to say is you can make it. If you choose to make it, you can get through it.
That was so powerful. Your title alone is extremely powerful. I choose to live. You
Yes.
spoke life into yourself in the
Yes.
midst of a moment where death probably would
Mhm.
have sounded easier. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that alone is powerful. And the fact that you took upon the assignment of encouraging others in the midst of your grief, that is powerful. So
Thank
you
you.
celebrate yourself because,
Thank you.
baby, it's not many out here
But
that could have done that.
yeah, because even with this, I think because you go through the anger stage, but where my anger stage went was okay, more on the spiritual, okay, you want to mess with this child, but guess what?
The attack,
I'm
right?
gonna, you know, and the attack it's mental. It's in your head,
Mhm.
and I just kind of felt like, that attack was meant to destroy me. It killed my son, but it was trying to destroy me. And so I used that anger or that resilience, and I like, okay, well, I'm gonna help somebody else along the way. It was kind of like, okay, since you want to mess with me, now I'm going to go help, so what you meant for evil, I'm going to turn it around for, we're going to turn it around for the good. And I'm going to help somebody else and take that resilience and, that anger and that strength and say, okay, I'm going to pull somebody else out just because you wanted to mess with mine. So that's kind of like the attitude I kind of took with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
his life
And
killed.
that is powerful. You put on the armor.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
You put
ma'am.
on the armor of God and you walk in your victorious
Yes.
season.
Mm-hmm.
You could have allowed the devil to come in and kill, steal, and destroy, but you didn't.
Yeah. No.
You put on your armor and you
Yes.
walked with God.
Yes.
Um, a lot of I've heard a lot of parents who have
Mm-hmm.
lost children.
Mm-hmm.
My mom has lost a son,
Okay.
and my father has lost a son. I've lost two brothers.
Right.
Um, but I've heard so many parents get angry with God, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But for you, you didn't place any anger on God. You took that anger and you turned it into um, fighting power.
Yeah.
You
Turn
know,
into a weapon.
you turned it into a weapon.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Not saying I didn't have my moments. We all kind of be like, God, why? You know, um, the why I learned is none of my business.
mm, yes.
You know, I feel we're all here put on this earth for a purpose, and whatever length of time that may be. Um, if I may say, like at his homegoing in the middle of COVID, and I kind of put emphasis on this in the middle of COVID, I didn't think that many people were going to show up because we were right in at the beginning, and there was an overflow. I got a big church there was an overflow of people where they were almost blocking the streets. He had touched that many people. But do you know how many of those people probably would never enter a church where my pastor preached to them salvation?
Mm.
You
Empty.
know, so that's how I like to look at it. You know, he had a time on this earth, and he had a purpose,
Yes.
and he may have been a sacrifice so that somebody else could
Ooh. Yes, indeed.
live, because there were so many people that came and to me, and they were touched, like, oh, your pastor is fire, and that because my pastor comes from the streets and things, so he's not traditional, so
Yes.
but he knows how to reach the young. He's older, but he knows how to reach the young. He's been there and he's done that. So, when he preaches, he can relate, and people were really like, wow. When people can go wow over the word of God at a funeral, so that's how, I like to look at it.
But see, he's a
It's
coach for God because you coach through experience. And
mhm,
he's experienced, he's been where they were. But
exactly.
just to think about the impact that your son left here in those short amount of years of his
Yes.
life is
Hmm.
phenomenal.
Hmm.
He fulfilled his purpose because we are here to what?
Fulfill a
Bring
purpose.
fulfill a purpose. And he
Yes.
brought lives to Christ.
Yes.
People that may have never crossed the threshold of a church entered into
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
building, you
Into
know?
the building. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
came into the
That
building,
day they
so
got
it's
some Jesus.
yes,
you know.
yes.
Yeah. So
So
that's the important thing. I hate to have lost my son. Yes, it hurt. But sometimes you just have to try to find that, they say that light at the end of the tunnel, because it's the only
absolutely.
thing you have, and you have to hold on to hope, and
Mhm.
so whatever, you know yes, I hurt because he's not here, yes, I miss him, and our family misses him, and I would have never had wanted this to happen at all, but it happened. That's the reality.
Yes, that's the reality of it. It happened, and you turned your pain into power
Yes.
because not only did you write a book, but you birthed a publishing company
Yes.
in the midst of all of this.
Yes.
So before we get into the publishing company, I'm sure you had a fountain of support with you
Mhm.
during your time of
Yes.
bereavement.
Mhm.
Um, how did that help you through the process
Oh,
of
uh, that helped tremendously, you know. Uh, and I'm going to kind of tie the two in, kind of what we were just talking about,
mhm,
um, the questioning of God. When I questioned God, it was like, why you didn't warn me? And this is even for the people, who are in ministry, who may have a prophetic gift.
yes.
Sometimes you feel like, well, if I'm supposed to have this great gift, why I didn't know?
Mm, my God.
You know, I can tell everybody about their stuff, but when it came to me, I didn't know. And
Oh yeah.
I questioned God about that, like, did you, why did you forsake me in that moment? You kind of have that. And then when the rally of the people around me,
Yes.
my church literally held me up by my elbows. That's that's the type of support, I lived in California. My son was killed in Vegas. I didn't know anything about transporting a body. I didn't know anything about, and my pastor said, I got you. I got you. No, you don't have to worry about nothing. I got you. So my
Yeah.
church just really just took care of me. My mom was there right with me, family and friends and so many people just came together. And then, but when I looked at my church, I was just so grateful. And I hadn't been there long. I've only been at the time I had only been at that church maybe 2 years, not quite 2 years.
So you said some
And
amazing and some powerful things right there.
mhm,
Um, for me myself, I can see other people things, but it's so hard for me to see my own. And
mhm,
so that's something that I often struggle with as well. Like, okay, God, can I get a little warning over here?
yeah,
Because I can wake up out of my sleep with dreams about something dealing with
mhm,
someone else's life, and I've learned to accept my assignment and I call like, not all the time calling, but when God makes it clear to me, I'll reach out. But when it comes to my own situation, man, it's like,
mhm,
hey, God, I need can I get some stronger glasses over here, and to have your church to
mhm,
support you the way that it is, because
mhm,
I also had to transport one of my brothers home. I had no clue of what to do, how to
to
do it,
do.
but
Mhm,
God gave me the strength to press through. But if I would have had that support system,
mhm.
it would have made that journey so much lighter
So
for
much
me.
better. Yeah. and
So
and that's why I say everybody's journey is different. Where I have a lot of support. A lot of people may not have that support.
mhm,
But with that, in my questioning, going back to the questioning, I said, why did you? And then I was looking at my pastor, I was looking at my church, and the light bulb hit me. And it's like in that moment, and he said, I didn't forsake you. I know what's going to happen before it's going to happen.
mm,
So therefore, I led you to a place that can spiritually feed you to be able to withstand this hit.
yes.
So it was him letting me know I didn't leave you. I had prepared you for this in advance,
Mm.
just a different type of way.
Because you were placed called to join your church just 2 years prior, correct?
Yes. Because when I went there, if people would have, if when I was there, I was on the ledge mentally. I was hanging on by this little thread when I got there, and my pastor knew it. And when I got there, he had prayed for me. So the mental condition I was in, if this would have happened right when I got there, or had I not been somewhere where I could be spiritually strong enough to handle something like this,
Mhm.
we may not be talking today.
My God.
That's how bad it was. I was so deep into depression, and by the time I had walked into the doors of that church, I was telling God, I just want to go to sleep and don't wake up. I'm tired. That's how tired I was. Just life was just beating me up from the left to the right.
Oh, yes.
So when I got there, my pastor saw it on me, and he poured into me and he spoke life into me. And then a year and a half later, this happens.
Mm.
So
I
in that journey, it's like God had me because he knew I was going to go through something devastating. So he had to make sure that I was strong enough to be able to withstand. Now the test in that was how I handled it. Could I trust God enough to let him walk me in through this. Because it's
Mm.
when my son was killed, the first thing I said was, okay, God, there's a test in this, and this I have to pass because I can't repeat this test. I know a lot of people have heard if you don't pass the test, it's gonna come
You
over and
don't
over and over.
repeat.
In
Yes,
this, I said there's a test somewhere, and I gotta pass this the first time around because I can't go through this test again.
absolutely.
So in that, it was the test of even through adversity, even through the storm, could I still trust God even in the midst of losing my son?
Mm.
And that's when I say I had a spiritual journey along with this.
Faith.
And yeah,
Yeah.
my faith is what carried me. So when people see me today, they say, I don't understand how you so it has nothing to do with me and it has everything to do with God.
Oh, yes. Your faith surpassed it all understanding.
Understanding. I had to completely because if I did not yield over my faith, I would have crumbled.
Absolutely.
Because there's no way I could have did it in my own strength.
No, ma'am. No way possible.
No way possible.
No way possible.
So that's just a little bit about like my support system and so I'm thankful. I'm thankful, and my now husband was a good support system, and I even kind of tell about that, through the turmoil, and we were best friends. We were really just best friends, and I had
Right.
to lean on him a lot. And then I say, within maybe 8 months, we were dating from my son's passing. So that was he got killed in August. No, maybe less than that. In less than that, he got killed in August, and we were dating by November. 3 months. 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah,
But God aligned it. He aligned
yeah.
it all.
And he
He
also
knew.
had me in that way too, somebody that I could lean on, somebody I could depend on, who was able to step up to the plate for me. So he had position, so many people around me that could hold me up and pray me through and speak life into me and let me know that I was going to be okay as well.
Come on, God, with the strategic plan. Come
Yeah.
on.
Mhm.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Yes, I love it. And from that, you've you just doing everything out here. The hair connoisseur. I'm loving this burgundy you got going on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Um, yes, and then you have the publishing company. I'm seeing you on podcast platforms, and um, when you said you only published 2 books, I was
Mhm.
actually shocked because I'm like, wait, I thought she had more, but I see now that they're in the process of being birthed,
Yeah.
and that is amazing alone.
Mhm.
So, with juggling, because I know that you still have your moments of grief,
Yes, yes,
um, you're human,
yes.
you know. And I tell everybody we are humans here having a spiritual experience. You know,
Mhm.
we have to be able to determine um the spiritual from the human side. And the
Right.
human side of me, I may have had a breakdown this morning, you know.
Mhm.
But once I put my spiritual lens on, I get into my word and I go to God in prayer. Um, it doesn't look so bad, you know. It doesn't look so bad. So I love it. But how how have you been able to balance life, in your businesses and
Mhm.
still continue on your coping journey, because I know that you're not only coping for you, but you're coping for your other surviving 4 children.
Mhm.
How have they managed to get through this, especially your son that was with him? Like, that's
Mhm.
traumatic. And I know that, um mental health doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong with you, but
Right.
a trauma
A
can
trauma.
actually bring forth some things that we have no clue about. So, Can you elaborate on that a little for me?
Yeah, I'm still praying for him.
Yeah.
He really shut down. Um, he will rarely talk about the event. No matter what I say, you had it. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Hmm.
But I know he's. So I tried the best that I can, and but somebody has to want the help. I wish I could say, you my time, I'm gonna put you over my knee and you gonna go get some help, but it's his journey.
Yes, absolutely.
It's it's his journey, and it's something that I'm just waiting, and when he comes, I'll have open arms. You
It
know,
sounds like he's a suppressor.
yes.
And I can speak on that because I too, I'm a suppressor. Um, and when we don't know how to handle it, or we don't know the words to express
Hmm.
how we're feeling, we'll just
Yeah,
suppress it.
yeah.
So just continue to cover him in prayer because when I lost my brother, everyone, how are you feeling? I'm fine. I was not fine. I
Hmm.
was not okay.
Hmm.
Even with losing my other brother, I was not fine. I was not okay. Having to have the experience of seeing both of my brothers on that cold table, both with gunshots to the head, um, and actually seeing brain and matter, and I was not okay. I was not okay. But I told you
Hmm.
I was okay,
Yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
So just continue to keep him covered in prayer. And like you said, when God brings him back
Hmm.
around,
Yeah.
because he will,
Yeah.
just be there with open arms
Hmm. Yeah,
because
I
he
see.
will
I see
definitely.
him a lot, but he rarely, even with the event, and people asking questions and things like that, you could hardly get anything out of him. It frustrated a lot of people, you know, behind it, but at the same time, mom, that's my child, and he don't want to talk. He can't, because and it,
Mhm.
as a mother who had two sons, and realizing that that day I could have lost both.
Yes. And they have to understand just as well as they're frustrated that he doesn't want to talk about it, it's frustrating to him to have to talk about it.
Right.
So it
Exactly.
goes
Because you
both
have to
ways.
make him relive that over, and he's
Exactly.
not ready
He's
for
not
that.
ready for that.
He had to physically see his brother die, and then he had to make the decision to save himself in the
Yes.
midst. So I can understand, no, I can't understand
Mhm.
what that process,
Absolutely.
so like I said, I just continue to cover him in prayer, and I always let him know when you're ready,
Mhm.
so ready could be another year from now or never in my lifetime, you know
Absolutely.
he might confide in somebody else, but it's just the fact that it's really important to let people and not try to force them
Force it.
to, because we have our own ideas on what we feel is healthy. And
Mhm.
sometimes we try to push that off on other people. Sometimes
Absolutely.
we mean well, but you're like, you got to talk about it. That's not normal. That's not this. And sometimes we're doing more damage than we are good, even though our heart may be in the right place.
I'm the biggest advocate against society standards you will want to meet because I do recall, and I've spoke on this many a times. People mean well
Yeah.
with their intentions, with their words of encouragement, but get out my face because I'm not in a space to receive that the way that you feel like I should receive it. You
Mhm.
know, life as we know it ends the minute we receive those calls
Mhm.
or the minute that we experience that traumatic event, you
Yeah.
know? Um,
Mhm.
People don't understand that every day we're constantly shedding. You know, it's a shedding process. What you look like yesterday may not be what you look like today. You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
um, and I know they meant well. Oh, God makes no mistakes. Oh, just cherish the moments and the memories, and you know, I can go on and on with cliche statements, and I'm like,
Mhm.
please get out of my face.
Yeah.
Please get out of my face right now. Let me process it.
Mhm.
We seem to have the tendency to want to bombard everyone when they
Yeah.
get that call. No, no, no. I personally, I got up and walked out of my house and I left all of my visitors at my house. I needed the time to process. I needed the space.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you. Everyone process is different. Everyone's
Mhm.
journey is not the same. And we have to stop assuming
Mhm.
that it is. And we have to stop forcing our opinions or our journey or our experience off on others because God created us all uniquely. We're
Mhm.
all uniquely and wonderfully made in his image.
That's right. Mhm.
Unique means we're different.
Different.
If we were all the same, why did he create us and put us here?
Mhm.
Not to be on an assembly line. That's
Mhm.
everything's the same. But he
Mhm.
created us uniquely. So
Mhm.
I love that you spoke on
Yeah.
that, and I love that you
And
are aware of that.
yeah, and that's where I
Yes,
feel like the importance of the books are,
yes.
because sometimes people don't, they want the advice,
Hmm.
or they want some answers or they want some encouragement, but sometimes they just don't want it from people.
Absolutely.
So sometimes is, when you're off to yourself and you're alone, and maybe it might be better off opening up a book, and then you're
Yes.
able to kind of get to yourself and you kind of get to your thoughts, and sometimes even in your quietness and your stillness, and you're reading encouraging words and things, sometimes even God can minister to you in your quiet,
Oh, yes.
you know and just and help you along. And sometimes you can see yourself in a book, you can see your situation in a book, but it's not because
Hmm.
sometimes we're uh I won't say a walking zombie, but sometimes we are,
Oh, yes.
because there's
Absolutely.
so much going on, and you're able to walk and not fall over or bump into something, is because we know how to navigate, but our minds are so baffled. It's like we're here but not here. And then when you
Hmm.
have a whole bunch of people on top of it,
Yes.
then it gets worse.
Hmm. And
It
the
gets worse.
easiest thing to do is just mentally check out.
Mhm. Mentally
Mentally
check
check out.
out. And see, what worked for me was when I was going through a lot of the arrangements and the various different things that would get overwhelming.
Hmm.
My church is almost about 90 miles away from my home.
Oh, wow.
And that's how much I love my church. And
Yes.
so I remember my mom and myself, we were doing some preparations and things, but it was starting to become so overwhelming. And my mind was so this. And I said, that's it. I got to go to church. We are going to church tonight. Whatever this is, it can wait till tomorrow. And where I found a lot of my release was in going in the worship and the praise, and being able to just worship and praise, and just being in the presence of God. A lot of people say, yeah, you can do that at home, but sometimes it is nothing like going to church,
Being in the presence.
where you can
Yes.
feel the anointing, and I could release. I could release. And they held me up, but without being, of course you got your hugs and you got your this, you got that, but it seemed like they knew what I needed and what I didn't need. And so they kind of let me be, but
Hmm.
I was able to praise, and I was able to get that off of me. And then I was able to go back home and say, okay, now
Yeah.
I can go to phase two. I
Yes.
can plan, I can prepare. And I think through this journey, the best thing that you could ever do is to be honest with yourself about you.
Oh, absolutely.
because you know what you
Absolutely.
can take, you know what you can handle. Like for me, now everybody may not have been able to do this, but for me, I took almost a year off work.
Wow.
People looking at me, go, oh, you're doing so well. But I knew. See, I worked in call center manager. When you're barely hanging on and you smiling, last thing I needed was somebody yelling in my ear.
Hmm. And
So me,
it's amazing that you said that because and this is a transparent moment for me.
mm,
Um I just recently buried my grandfather who I cared for years. Um and I instantly tried to jump back into the working phase. But let me tell you how God worked. I haven't landed a job yet. And I'm open enough, I'm honest enough to admit that. I haven't landed a job yet.
yeah,
Um, Not working for anyone else. Now he's been sending entrepreneur opportunities to me left and right. And God, I am grateful.
yeah,
I
yes,
am so grateful. Thank you. But I was like, God, I need to make money now. I have a daughter to feed. My oldest daughter is grown, but I have one still with me. I have bills to pay. And I wasn't ready to go back into the working field. Now, I haven't had my wants, but He has taken care of all my needs. So
amen,
I got to give God all the glory, all
yes,
the honor, and all the praise. And for you to say that, it was like, uh-huh, confirmation, because it had already come to me. It was already revealed to me. Maybe this is not what God wants for you right now because He ain't letting it happen. I got the credentials, I got a trade, I got a degree, and I got the experience. What is going on?
what's
You
going
know?
on?
But
Yeah,
God said,
because
not right now.
even after the year, it totally changed like my industry of what I would do.
Yeah.
And then I had to go, I had to get something that wasn't so multi. See, I'm the type of person I would work two or three jobs, and they knew me. When my son was killed, I couldn't hear the phone
Mm.
because I was working two jobs. I worked a full 40 hours, and then at night I was working a warehouse job and to make ends meet, single mom and at the time. And so I was tired. I
Yeah.
mean, in my 40s, and I was tired working a warehouse job. And sometimes I would only get a couple of hours of sleep. And I had just got off of work, and I think I had maybe 3 or 4 hours I could sleep, maybe 3 hours. And I had to be up early the next morning so I could go to work.
Yeah.
I did not. When I woke up, I had about 60 missed calls, and I heard not one of them. And so, but it changed the industry of what I could do, and so I had to do something that was less strenuous. But me, I'm about the money, and so I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, after almost about the year, I said, okay, I'm ready to make some money. I need some money.
Hmm.
And I've got a job, and let me tell you how this happened is funny. I started working, and then they just was like, well, we need you. I was in training, but I kind of knew the industry already. So they said, oh, I said, okay, I'll jump on the phone. Tell me why it seemed like everybody called out that day. There was like three of us, three or four, where it should have probably been about 6 to 7 of us. There was like
Oh,
about
that's
maybe about three, and the calls were going off the hook.
and I think I would have called out too that day. I would have been like, this
Yeah.
it? Yep.
And because at first like, okay, I can handle this. I know what I'm doing. This is mine. And but I felt something go pop. Literally, it was like, and I started like, I don't know if it was like a anxiety, the
Mm.
shaking, and I was so overwhelmed. And I had called my husband. I was just like, I'm getting ready to walk up out of here. I started having And I said, I'm getting ready to walk up out of here. I can't handle this. I can't handle
Yes.
this. And, you know, and he kind of was like, yeah, you went and got that job because you was looking at the money. He said, but we
Mm-hmm.
had agreed that you were going to go do this job where you didn't have a whole lot on you. So you see, a hard head makes a soft behind.
Mm-hmm.
But in that moment, but see, I knew myself. I knew, I said, something's not right. And this is a year after. So
Yes.
even still within using my faith and and everything, I still had to pay attention to the natural me, the human me,
Yes.
which I had to come to terms with. Okay, there's still some things I'm still healing, and I can't go right back to being superwoman. You
That's
know,
it.
I have to take that time and still heal. So grieving can take the trauma. See, that came from the trauma part, but because I
Mm-hmm.
had taken so much time off of work, I yet not had to face that part. But that
You just
part
said a mouthful there.
but that part, of course, with any triggers, sometimes you don't know that they're there sometimes until you have to face them. But the important thing is, what do you do when you face it? And so now some people would have kept pushing. But I believe if I kept pushing 1 or 2 more days, I would have been somewhere getting somebody's medication.
You know, you speaking to me right now. Um, oh God, it's amazing how he's using you to minister to me at this very moment. Within these last 4 years, all of the death that I have experienced, I haven't grieved one person. And he has me in a moment now where I have to face my grief. I have to in order to go to the next level. I have to. And I'm transparent and honest enough to say I'm not okay. And that's why he hasn't put me back into society right now. Because he
It's okay.
knows. He knows I'm not okay. Everyone is so used to me being superwoman.
Yeah.
And I do. I take pride in that because immediately I'll jump into doing something, busy
Mhm.
work, doing something for someone else. Planning services. I'm so tired of planning services. I'm so tired of that front row. God knows I am. But um, this is the moment in my life where my kids are basically grown. My grandfather's gone. And now it's just me. And now I have to face me. I have to face my grief. And I have to pay attention to me and the human and the
Yes.
natural. And I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And I can admit that
Yeah.
I'm not okay. But God,
Yeah.
He's gonna
You're
see me
not
through.
okay, but you will be okay.
I will be okay. He
And
will
that's
see me
and
through.
that's perfectly fine. And then in that moment, don't apologize for feeling the way that you feel. Because
Well, I
you
just told everybody on the world my feelings,
know
but
and y'all better not say no, 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 never. Come get you. No, over my Lakecia. but 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 and that's okay. And like I said, it's a constant healing process. And like you said, God just has you working on you right now. And that's kind of almost the best place to be,
Mhm.
because in that moment you'll find a whole new you. You find your strength.
Yes.
And it's okay to sometimes to recognize your weaknesses, But even in finding the new me, that's where I started doing all this stuff.
Yes.
I never knew I could tap into poetry. I never knew. I'm getting ready to do a podcast show. And I'm so nervous. I want to tell that lady, never mind. I'm so shy. I, I can get on here and talk to you. I guess maybe because this is my element, but I don't talk a whole lot. I'm very shy. And I said, what
Well,
the
you
heck?
know
I
what?
don't
When I started this show, Simone, in a few that do know me, my first podcast, I had to click off the screen because I was just overwhelmed. Like I didn't
Mhm.
know how I was gonna make it through. I had to overcome the fear of seeing my face in the camera.
Mhm.
That's how low my self-esteem and confidence was.
Okay.
But now, girl, I'm on that camera like, hey y'all,
You a
like
pro now.
how y'all doing tonight? And I
You
went from
are
and
the podcast extraordinaire. You are
yeah,
the grief coach. You are the
yes. So to
visionary. And
exactly. So to see
much, much more.
myself come through the growth process, it's
Yes.
amazing because I can still look back on some of my previous recorded shows and I'm like, oh wow, girl, you can see it all over your face. You was just nervous and going through, but now, the over the years I'm comfortable now. So I've grown through the uncomfortableness, if that,
Yeah,
makes sense to
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
And man, I didn't look. I'm glad I didn't wear any lashes today. You got me crying over here.
But that's all right. But you know what? In these moments is what you call iron sharpens iron.
Oh yes.
You
Yes.
know, and so it's kind of like we both some similar experiences, but that's where we uplift each other. We,
Yes.
we push each other, and even in the transparent moments, and sometimes they just need to be just that. Just let people be transparent. Because
Yes.
sometimes the aha moment is in the transparency. And that's
Absolutely.
when you can look a little bit more into self.
Yes.
But like I said, you know you're stronger than what sometimes you give yourself credit for. I know that's what's
Mhm.
happened with me, just understanding that, I'm stronger than what I've given myself credit for, you know,
Yes.
and, not by my own strength, but there are some things, and I like to use the scripture, in the Bible, he said, work out your own soul salvation. So there's some
Mhm.
things that you have to do the work. God
Oh
not
yeah.
going to mysteriously do it for you, you know
Absolutely.
so he'll point us in the right direction, but it's up to us to do the work. And that's why
Hmm.
I choose to live, because it was up to me to do the work and to choose to want to live past the storms. It's like I've made it through divorce.
Hmm.
I've made it through a whole bunch of things through life, you know bumps and bruises along the way. But this is another thing, as traumatic as it can be, that
Yes.
we also have to choose to be able to pick ourselves up, and like I said, and pull somebody along the way. It makes you feel so much better.
Yes.
It makes you feel
Absolutely.
so much better when you can pull somebody and encourage somebody and push somebody, because sometimes you can see you in them.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
so sometimes it's almost like giving yourself a push by pushing somebody else.
Yes. So I cannot wait to see you on this podcast because you're gonna push yourself through, right?
Yeah, I'm
You
gonna push.
gonna yes.
If you see me clicking
And
my thumbs, I'm pushing.
oh, we gonna be right there rooting you on.
Thank
So
you.
I know that oh we didn't had a wonderful discussion.
I know
We
it went by
we
so
barely
quick.
even yes, and we barely even scratched the surface. I'm like, you got to come back. Definitely. So but I just want them to know a brief something brief about, the publishing company because I'm so amazed with that. Like
Yeah.
what what clicked and said, you know what, I'm gonna start my own publishing company? What made you say that?
Helping other people do their stuff. I hadn't even released my own, and I was putting together other people's books, and
Come on,
you
help
know,
others.
yeah, it was just like it really was just like a download from God. Like I didn't know, but I could get on the
Mhm.
computer and just say, okay, this is what you need to do. This, and this. You know, I used to be a test reader years ago, and I would tell people, uh, like I can't see your book as a movie. Something's wrong, you know. And I would go to rearranging a book, and I was just doing it for free books.
Mm,
And so they then the start words start spreading. And people start sending me manuscripts because they're like, "This girl think." But I enjoyed doing it. So even then, I had wanted to get into publishing, but it just wasn't the season for it. And then, but just
mm,
right in this season, it's just like I just did it, and I started encouraging. And even I was sitting one day and I heard God says, now is your time. My
yes.
people have a voice, and make sure that they're heard. Everybody's not called to the pulpit, but there are people that still have a word inside of them that needs to come out.
Mm,
It may not
absolutely.
ever be over a pulpit, but it could be in a book. So I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
I'm trying to tell you, that's it right there. I'm so now let's talk about this hair contour. You know, you just because you be rocking the hair, I be like, Simone hair is so good. And
I
I had no
love.
idea until I
Mhm.
read your bio that you have a hair boutique.
Yes, it's it right now I'm dabbling in the braided wigs industry. Something I wanted to do something a little different. I may eventually get into more of the human hair, but I have my website is She Unique, and that's UNIQ She Unique LLC.com.
Put
And
that
you can
down
go
there
on
for the
there.
people.
Oh, thank you. And I do have braided wigs on there, different styles, and I'll be adding some more styles as well. So I got into that just wanting something different because I suffered from alopecia. And so I wanted to, I wear something different, do something different. So when I start discovering the braided wigs, I'm like, hey, this is nice. There may be some people that may not want to get their hair braided or they can't get their hair braided, but it's a different option. Everybody's selling human hair. I wanted to do something different.
So yes, so I tell you what, because for some reason it's not letting me type it, but we will go back and add your website, your hair
Okay.
boutique, and all of that to this broadcast because the people got to know how to reach you.
Yes.
They have to know how to reach you. Also, if you can let them know how to connect with you on social media, I would greatly appreciate it so that they can stay in contact with you. Because I know I'm gonna be following you, so they might as well join me. Because I'm Team Simone. I'm like, "Go girl, that's my sis."
You can reach me. I do have an author page, author Simone Williams Young on Facebook. And there I also have my link posted to my link tree. If you want to keep in touch and see what I'm doing, just grab that link off my author page. I am my regular page on Facebook, it is open as well. And that's just under Simone Williams. I do have a Instagram, and that's Moni Love 323 on Instagram. And then I am on TikTok as Simone Williams.
Awesome. So Simone, before we get out of here, because our time is up, and I can sit here and talk to you all day, but we gonna
Right.
we gonna do right, and we gonna let the time in. But before you leave, I like to give my guests a time to give people their flowers, anyone that you choose. I just feel like being able to give people their flowers while they're still here is better than
Mhm.
having to go and put it on that dirt.
Right.
So whoever you choose to give your flowers to today, the floor is yours. Give your flowers, girl.
I'm gonna quickly say too. My mom and my husband. You are running there. They've been with me through thick
Yes.
and thin, and I appreciate them.
Awesome. So we thank you, Mama and husband of Simone Williams Young, for being there and being her support system. And she loves y'all dearly. So she has given you your flowers on today on Let's Talk Grief. Thank you. So it's been so wonderful to sit here and talk to you, sis. And we will be talking more. And I will definitely have to have you back on the show once again. But thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in to Let's Talk Grief. And we will see y'all later. Bye.